So for those of you who know Kespry, we're a little bit different. We've always been focused as a complete solution provider in the market. We started in 2013 largely to deliver an autonomous drone that enabled the automatic upload of data directly into our cloud infrastructure, enabling deep analytics, particularly using computer vision and machine learning to be able to process a series of analytical applications for industrial use cases. Over the last 5 years, we've flown over 75,000 missions, specifically in mining, in aggregates, in insurance, construction, and most recently, in the energy sector. We've been able to deliver accurate, safe measurement of all kinds of industrial work sites, including key assets, buildings, and areas, particularly from a topological analytic perspective. Our customers are using aerial intelligence specifically to drive the new realities of this fourth industrial age, where the leveling of this playing field of the industrial worker, where they can actually start to really recreate their careers by being able to expand beyond the use of the traditional technologies that have really slowed down this market adoption. In our case, we started in mining and aggregates. And specifically in mining and aggregates, we really helped a lot of our customers be able to do better measurement of volumetric stockpiles, as well as being able to do inventory management. We expanded more recently into the insurance and roofing sector, where some of the key customers in our space include the largest carriers in North America, including State Farm and Farmers Insurance, who are now using Kespry drones to largely climb, instead of that roof manually, take that measurement of the rooftop, being able to do the dimensional analysis, as well as using a series of machine learning algorithms to automate not only the dimensional analysis, but also damage detection, including hail damage, specifically on that roof. Our customers have been able to indicate that the productivity that they've been able to accomplish increases the ability to cover as much as 3 to 4 homes per hour, as opposed to typically 3 to 4 homes per day. This is an 8 to 10x productivity improvement that we've seen in the future of this kind of industrial work. We see this fourth industrial age really converging the physical and cyber assets of most of the organizations that we have continuously served. It starts to drive a new sensor network that not only takes account drones, but also fixed ground-based sensors. The nature of blue-collar work itself has continued to transform, particularly in this last half a decade. We're working with customers like Shell today that are extending the range of the analytic capability, where we can now ingest ground-based sensors, drone-based sensors, to be able to detect leaks, to be able to detect temperature anomalies using the sensor-based input that's emerging in this industry. Drones continue to remain an enormous part of being able to deliver this industrial sensor network forward. At Kespry, we've now produced as much data in the last 3-4 years that now helps us understand over 25% of all of aggregate production in North America, and now expanding into the globe. We serve over 200 customers today across the globe in terms of enabling them to manage their inventory measurement, as well as just understanding the key infrastructure requirements to be able to globally scale out the aggregates and mineral production across their use cases and their customer base. This is critical for the point of where we see this business continuing to evolve. Some of the top 5 producers in the market today are using Kespry for inventory management. RK Hall, which is a Summit-based company, is now using Kespry on a day-in, day-out basis to be able to produce all of the profitability measurements, the inventory management measurements that come in finance operations as well as ground control. If you look at what's driving this capability today, it's really about using that drone technology that we're delivering alongside of all of the enterprise capability that an organization already has. The solution has to fit alongside of everything else that drives that enterprise forward. In our case, the delivery of that accurate information in terms of the volumetric measurement of the stockpiles, in terms of the inventory management, and being able to do that safely without a ground control point really drives the organization not only to take that inventory measurement on a quarterly or annual basis, but literally this is now coming down to weekly as well as daily measurement of what's changing on that worksite itself. This kind of data collection is not only impacting the operational efficiency of what's happening on the ground, but also sales decisions, finance decisions that are actually being reimagined with the use of solutions like Kespry's in the market. So with that in mind, it's my pleasure to announce today that Kespry and DJI are going to market together with the stockpile management capability that doesn't sacrifice the unique nature of what Kespry has delivered into the space, including accuracy and autonomy, but really expands the sensor network itself. It really expands the number of sensor-based processing capabilities that's now possible with the combination of Kespry and DJI in the market together. In this case, the Kespry experience will be supported by the new DJI Mavic 2 platform, which is specifically designed to be able to now take in the full accommodation of the stockpile measurements, which I'll show in a moment, and be able to package that in a delivered solution that includes the flight control, the autonomy, and the simplicity of what Kespry has historically been known in the market. By adding DJI and the associated sensors into this environment, we believe that there's a new industrial network that continues to form, that couples not only the DJI drone, but also Kespry continuing to deliver radiometric thermal solutions into the market, precision mining capabilities using a precision GPS into the space, alongside of what we can now deliver with DJI. So let's actually take a look at what our customers together think about this integrated experience together.
My name is Justin Dermont. I work for Russell Standard Corporation as the accounting manager. We were looking for a more accurate way to measure our inventory stockpiles.
We could have anywhere to $20 million to $30 million of inventory sitting on the ground or in our tanks at any given time.
My name's Kyla Junclaws. I work for Brandon Companies. We used to measure inventory by calling up our surveyor, who we would have come out. You have to schedule in advance, literally have them walk the piles. So they're climbing on the piles, which is dangerous.
We never knew what was there. Our perpetuals were easy to get off track.
Our confidence in our accuracy was very low. Now that we are using the Kespry system, our inventory taking at month end is a lot more timely, a lot more accurate. We went from being probably about 50% confident in our inventory numbers at month end to 99% confident.
Kespry allows me to do everything from start to finish in-house on our own.
Flying the DJI system with Kespry was as seamless and as user-friendly as possible.
Adding the DJI drone to the Kespry system, we can fly more sites in the same day than we would have been able to with just one system.
We have sites in North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Maryland. Being that it's an extra unit, we can actually fly multiple sites at one time.
Having DJI as part of the Kespry system will help with the flexibility and the timeliness of us being able to take inventory at multiple locations. It's fully automated. It goes up, takes the inventory, comes back.
Kespry partnering with DJI just opens up the door for the smartest people in the smartest areas to all collaborate together.
So what did you notice there? First of all, a few things. The titles of the folks that were talking about the solution together, they were all in finance and accounting. They saw this as a critical nature of how they were able to accomplish their jobs on a day-in, day-out basis by including the drone into the overall solution. The second thing you're seeing is the scale of what's actually going on. We're now able to do the accurate assessment of sites, of products, of operations in a way that's unprecedented. You can actually see the mass production and scale of this capability now emerge with Kespry and DJI going to market together. If we look at how customers are now capturing this data, and specifically the use of the two technologies together, I want to make sure that we have a chance to show this product in action, specifically when it comes to the Kespry cloud infrastructure. And with that in mind, I'd like to bring Jan back up on stage and be able to have a quick conversation on what we were up to. Hey, Jan.
Hi, George. Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You know, what really struck me is, first of all, your overall vision in terms of the Kespry sensor network and what that means for the industry. So I think it's a really unique perspective.
That's right. So when we look at the Kespry sensor network today, and I'll flip over to the demo screen for a second, we'll show you a few things that we're able to now accomplish with Kespry and the cloud infrastructure that we've been able to serve our customers with for the last half a decade. So in this particular case, we're looking at a volumetric measurement of stockpiles that we've now captured within this particular quarry that happens to be somewhere in the West Tennessee region. So when we actually now zoom in on this specific data set, you'll notice that, well, Jan, what do we see here? Looks like little
footsteps.
Footsteps on the stockpile. Well, what's actually going on there? It turns out that this particular stockpile has a specific depreciation in it that we want to be able to understand what the volumetrics were surrounding it. If you were typically doing this manually, you'd actually climb that stockpile and be able to take that measurement using GPS backpacks or survey-grade equipment. In this case, you're able to see what that DSM, the digital service model in particular, looks like, being able to create a fully realized three-dimensional and two-dimensional orthomosaic directly in the Kespry cloud. So
George, and if I can ask you a question, you mentioned earlier in your presentation the amount of productivity improvements the end customers are able to realize through utilizing your platform. Could you remind us how much value does this drive for the end customer?
So what we've seen historically in this space is that customers who have used Kespry have decreased their inventory management and measurement from about 20 to 30% forecast variances down to about 1 to 2%.
Wow.
So it's quite literally a 10x productivity gain.
Wow, that's incredible. So it's driving real value for the end customers.
That's right. And if you look at some examples of what that looks like today, it's not just the fact that we're looking at this from a visual map perspective. We're actually able to create a three-dimensional model. That three-dimensional model can be immediately exposed as a series of analytics directly in our cloud infrastructure, where we can now measure that capability. We can understand, for instance, how much volume might be associated with this stockpile. That stockpile has all of the cut mass associated with it by being able to generate a volumetric measurement using the photogrammetry pipeline that we're processing in the Kespry cloud. We're applying a series of density measurements to it and then calculating how much material is there. And that material calculation is literally now accurate down to 1% forecast variance. Now, because we're doing this in a way where we're accurately generating topological measurements down to 3 centimeters of real space, if we happen to be looking at this specific rise line of where we'd want to be able to send inventory out into the field, we can now take a line calculation tool and drop it directly on this specific asset area and close that line calculation. And directly inside the Kespry cloud, you'll be able to generate what the rise of that line is, what the grade of that line is, and being able to now know specifically how much, for instance, rise line there might be for being able to bring a haul road truck directly into that environment, to know if it's safe enough, for instance, for that haul road truck to make it into that environment.
And because you have to maintain certain standards of elevation, right? It can't be, the grade can't be too high.
That's right, because if the grade is too high, then it's a safety issue in terms of being able to bring any sort of material in and out of that work site. It's not only about that operational activity that's occurring on the work site itself, it's also about the integration to the financial management systems, the inventory management systems. In this case, you see inside of Kespry, you have an inventory management capability that starts to reconcile what's coming off of the drone and the analytics that we're generating and compare that against the ERP system that might be SAP, for instance. And so here, by a product-by-product level, you're starting to see, well, let's check out number one, Bush, as far as inventory goes, and we'll see that there's very little difference between the inventory that we're generating off of our joint solution versus what's being imported from ERP. In fact, there's less than 0.53% difference. But we're also seeing a scenario where number one bundle, as well as half rock, is actually quite different. and being able to do that reconciliation, not on an annual basis, not on a quarterly basis, but literally as soon as the drone flies, we're able to now create the inventory reconciliation on a semi-real-time basis.
That's incredible.
And so this is where we see the experience of the Kespry Cloud continuing to emerge. If we start to talk about the capabilities that we have seen in an industrial worksite, it's not just about being able to make these analytical decisions in a seamless way that really drive what is happening operationally, but it's actually delivering a level of accuracy that transcends the entire organization. The last example I'll show is how we've applied artificial intelligence and machine learning to a whole series of capabilities related to how we measure what's happening on the site itself. So this happens to be an industrial work site where there is equipment on the work site itself. If we wanted to get an accurate topology of that work site, it actually turns out that if we look at the digital surface model, you'll notice that same equipment is on the work site. It's part of the calculation today that that equipment would be on the work site. But to get a more accurate topology, you'd actually want to be able to remove that equipment. So here's the feature extracted view of that exact work site, where we've now used a machine learning model to be able to identify and train all of the elements of the work site that were tagged as construction equipment and be able to remove that directly from the analytical model that we've constructed.
Excellent. So this is just another powerful tool that people are able to clean up their data as part of their workflow, right?
That's right. And so just being able to collect that data from sensors like the partnership that we have with DJI is just not enough. It's, of course, being able to create the analytical work products that you see downstream with the example that you see today.
Absolutely.
Well, that gives a good overview of what Kespry has been doing in the space, and certainly we're now delighted to be able to expand the sensor-based capability that's been in market for years, and of course being able to partner with DJI in delivering this product into market together. So we're looking forward to this partnership, and thank you again for the opportunity.
We're very excited to have you part of the ecosystem.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jan. Appreciate
Thank you,
it very
George.
much.